Hey everybody, it's been a long time since I posted. I hope everybody's been safe and healthy in the last year. Since that time I haven't been able to train in a gym with gyms closing and opening, and so I wanted to kind of share my home gym, my process in building it, and what I've been doing in here since then. A lot of people, a lot of powerlifters, they kind of dream of having a home gym, being able to train at home, and going to the gym still, but being able to train at home occasionally is a nice idea. And then when you have to build out a home gym, essentially overnight, and then train in it for a year, there's some things that I didn't really realize, and the main one is how hard mentally it is to train by yourself in your garage for an entire year. I mean, just when you train in a gym, especially when you train in a gym and with other powerlifters, there's this energy, and you guys lift each other up. You hype each other up. They know you're coming up for a PR lift or a big lift, and they're there, they're yelling at you, they're cheering you on, they're slapping you on the back, and as silly as that sounds, it goes such a long way. And to do it for a year by yourself in your garage, anybody who's been doing it, hats off to you. I know how hard it is. One thing that I've been drawing a lot of energy from is just watching other powerlifters, novices, beginners, experts, people setting world records, and then people deadlifting 100 pounds for the first time. I think that energy is so huge, and seeing so many people, getting into powerlifting the last year and training at home and finding that comfort. It really reminds me that, when we're back in the gym and you see someone struggling, or you see someone trying a movement for the first time, this judgment has to go, and just being a resource for that person, not unsolicited advice, but just kind of being supportive, and letting that person know, like, if you have any questions, let me know. I'm here to help. Powerlifting is such a cool sport, and I want more people to get involved in it. And I think that there's a lot of hesitation. People don't want to go to a gym where some dude is deadlifting 600 pounds and be struggling to put the 45s on the bar, and it stops a lot of people from getting into it. So I'm taking a lot of that energy into the future, and keeping an eye out for that, looking out for other beginners, and seeing what I can do to help and introduce them to the sport safely. So back in April last year, I started working from home. My gym was closing, due to the lockdown restrictions, and then reopening and then closing. And I realized that there's going to be no way to train consistently for a meet. At that time, I was still planning on competing at Tested Nationals in Ohio. That got postponed, and then ultimately I didn't feel safe traveling there, traveling across the country at that time, so I stepped out of that meet. I have not competed since February of 2020, California State Championships, and I'm looking to compete for the first time in over a year at the NAS Power meet in Bakersfield at the end of May. It'll be my first time competing in the Submaster, 35-year-old age group. And there's 5 state records and a national record that I'm looking to set there. So being able to train at home and have the equipment at home to train and continue progressing has been huge. So when I built this home gym out, in the times that we're in, of course, when you have a home gym, you have this idea of how you want it to be, and I want this Rogue, rack, and it's beautiful, and all of a sudden you need a place to train overnight because your gym's closed, and you don't have the budget to buy everything at once, and you need to. And everybody in the country is trying to build out their home gym at the same time. You have people all across the country. The supply of weight plates is just decimated for months. The barbells, squat racks, anything and everything you could not buy retail. And then if you found it on Craigslist or OfferUp or anything like that, these guys are buying it and flipping it. They're buying a $300 squat rack and selling it for $1,200. So it was a challenge, and it took weeks of literally refreshing web pages every hour, every day. There's a resource gentleman on Instagram, as many reviews as possible. He would post links to availability on Rogue for bars and stuff like that. So I was able to get a couple things like that. The first thing I picked up was this Titan T2 squat rack. It's a very inexpensive squat rack, and I was a little bit hesitant at first. It's a cheap squat rack, and I'm worried about the stability, but I've been squatting in it for a year, set a PR in here, over 660 pounds, in here, and I haven't been worried about it. It's not bolted to the floor. My house has a post tension slab, so I didn't want to drill into it. I have a couple 120-pound dumbbells on the deck, and you know, it moves a little bit, but it's been fine. You know, there's no concern there. It hasn't come close to tipping or collapsing or anything like that. The theoretical weight limit on it, 700 pounds. I'm hoping to hit that pretty soon, so we will see. I was able to get a couple Rogue barbells. I have a Rogue Ohio bar. Still looking for a squat bar. This bar doesn't have any knurling in the center, and it's a little bit whippy, so when I am squatting 600 plus pounds, it has a tendency to shift on my back. It also has a tendency to whip, so when I come up out of the hole, you can see the weight kind of shaking. So I'm looking for a squat bar. Squat bars are 55 pounds instead of 45 pounds. A lot heavier, thicker, especially in the middle. A lot less whip. And they have that center knurling, so you can kind of stick it on your back. I was able to pick up a Rogue Ohio deadlift bar. You know, of course, deadlift bars are longer, more whip. And that's what we compete on in the USPA. So one thing I want to do is kind of keep familiarity with what I compete on as close as possible. I was able to pick up a Titan Hefty version 2 bench. I was benching on an adjustable, like Dick's Sporting Goods special bench before, and it was very wobbly, and I benched 405 on it, and it was horrifying. And you could hear the thing creaking. You know, me, I'm 405 pounds on top of it. I think we probably exceeded any weight lift that ever expected to have, so that was terrifying. I got about 690 pounds of iron. This was the hardest thing to find by far. It's still hard. It's a year later. Gyms are reopening. You still can't find it online. I was able to get in contact with a gentleman, Charlie, who owns Warriors Fitness in Elk Grove, and he sold me his old weight for retail prices. And he said, listen, I have to shut down. It's just sitting there. I'll sell it to you for what I paid for it. It's cheaper than what you can buy online anywhere. And then when I reopen, I'll just use that money to buy it brand new. Great deal. I hugely appreciate it. I wouldn't be able to train at all without what he did for me, so I appreciate that a lot. Picked up a trap bar on a local bidding site just to have it for trap bar rows and deadlifts. And then, you know, I have a computer to run my music, you know, because that's, you know, you need every kind of ounce of motivation you can get out here. And the last thing was, I was looking at deadlift platforms online that kind of pricey, and then I realized that you can just build one for about $160 in wood and horse stall mats, about 2 hours out of your time. So it's just 2 4x8 sheets screwed together, a third 4x8 sheet cut in half and centered, and then a horse stall mat cut to fit the difference. And then I lacquered the wood to give it kind of a shine. And you know, I've been dropping 600, 650 pounds on that. It hasn't damaged the floor or anything, so that's done its job. And that's my home gym. If you have any questions, any recommendations, let me know in the comments.